let's go ahead and get going on our first story here. So, like I said, things are going to look a little bit different for the next few episodes just because I don't have as much room on the screen here. So we don't have the bias distribution on the right-hand side like we normally do. It's going to be down below. But so in our first story, it says New York Democratic Party chair not endorsing Mamdani. So with our bias distribution, it's mostly coming from the right and the center. The left hasn't reported on this yet for some reason, so it is a blind spot issue for the left. I think the right is just using it as an opportunity to be like, look, the left doesn't have faith in Mamdani, but what's really going on is that like the establishment is fighting hard against him. And that's what happens anytime that you have these younger, more progressive Democrats. You have the more established people in the party, like the Chuck Schumers and the Nancy Pelosi's and the Andrew Cuomo's and the Eric Adams, will all say, no, you don't want this. You want closer to what we do. We've got your corporate interests in mind. I mean your personal interests in mind. But so bias distribution, 62% of the sources are coming from the right, 38% coming from the center, 46% of the sources are high factuality or above. I have my sources sorted by factuality, and I was going to try to pull up this article from the Jewish Insider just because it's the highest factuality right-leaning, but they wanted membership information to even get the article, and so I wasn't able to do that. But I did pull up an article down here from Newsweek, which is high factuality and center-leaning, so let's go ahead and read that. New York State Democratic Chairman Jay Jacobs says he will not endorse New York State Assemblyman and Democratic nominee for mayor Zohran Mamdani in a statement on Thursday. New York reached out to Mamdani's campaign via email for comment. Why it matters. The split matters because unified state and national party support is often viewed as critical in high-profile municipal contests. New York Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul's backing of Mamdani could be an attempt to consolidate Democrats, but key figures, including some congressional leaders and local officials, have remained neutral. Mamdani, a New York State Assemblyman who identifies as a Democratic socialist, won the Democratic primary over former Governor Andrew Cuomo in June and is the party's nominee for mayor. Not just former Governor Andrew Cuomo, but current Mayor Eric Adams. In a statement posted on X by New York Times, Nicholas Fandos on Thursday said, Jacobs said, in my part, Mamdani and I are in agreement that America's greatest problem is the continued growth in income disparity in our nation. On how to address it, we fundamentally disagree. Furthermore, as I expressed to him directly, I strongly disagree with his views on the state of Israel, along with certain key policy positions. Furthermore, I reject the platform of the so-called Democratic Socialists of America and do not believe that it represents the principles, values, or policies of the Democratic Party, Jacob said. For those reasons, I will not be endorsing Mr. Mamdani for mayor of New York, of the city of New York, he concluded. Mamdani seemingly defended the phrase global infada as a desperate desire for equality and equal rights in standing up for Palestinian human rights in the past. He also called anti-Semitism a real issue in New York City and said the Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th was a war crime. Over the weekend, Hochul announced her endorsement for Mamdani, saying on X, the city deserves a mayor who will stand up to Donald Trump and make life more affordable for New Yorkers. That is Zohran Mamdani. After Hochul's endorsement, some high-profile Democrats, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, have not publicly endorsed Mamdani. Weird that Chuck Schumer, a New York City Jewish man, isn't endorsing a Muslim man for mayor. But anyway, President Donald Trump criticized Hochul's endorsement in public comments and social postings, framing it as problematic for the city and suggesting federal scrutiny of funding. Oh my God. What people are saying. Trump on Truth Social this week. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York has endorsed the little communist Zohran Mamdani running for mayor in New York. This is a rather shocking development and a very bad one for New York City. How can such a thing happen? Washington will be watching this situation very closely. No reason to be sending good money after bad. President DJT. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont on X this month. The oligarchs are panicking. This will send as much as it. They will spend as much as it takes to defeat Zohran Mamdani. They've got the money. We've got the people. Together, let's elect Zohran and stop billionaires from buying elections. What happens next with the general election scheduled for November 4th, 2025? Democrats' decision to coalesce or remain fragmented could affect turnout, fundraising, and messaging. Observers say endorsement from prominent leaders often translates into practical campaign support, but Mamdani's polling lead in recent surveys complicates the calculus for hesitant officials. Okay, so that's what's going on with Zorhan Mamdani. Hey, thanks for checking out this video from Nightly News this morning. If you wouldn't mind, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video or when we go live on Tuesdays and Fridays.